Okay, Josh, this face took $11 billion to animate, so tell me, what emotion is she trying to convey here?
She's very confused about the fact that we have been standing here staring at her for a week.
Sherlock
But
Holmes
she's
is an enigma.
determined. She's determined not to lose the staring contest. Except that she just blinked right now.
You are aware, Holmes, of my Watson, of my unconventional methods, such as wearing tracks on a garden path, staring at a widow.
I think we did this already.
Does
But
the name Liam Hurtley
Yeah,
mean
when
anything?
is this where the
roll
save
through
came
this
in?
again.
That name?
Yeah, this is where continue dropped me, is in the middle
you,
of
madam.
fucking dialogue sequence.
It's always such a crapshoot when that happens. Okay, yep. So, Josh, who do you think committed the crime so far? Inspector Lestrade,
Probably Watson.
Dirty Urchin Boy, Creepy Watson, Team Bondi.
Not Creepy Watson. We sealed him in a bottle.
I miss Creepy Watson. I made a video game based on Creepy Watson once.
I forgot about that.
So let's see here. What are we doing?
That's the problem with mystery games, is that you leave off and then you completely forget what the fuck you were doing.
Well, man, I watched the episodes like 2 times over while editing them. So
Yeah, I mean, okay, so, yeah, the task list is very useful for this purpose. And also, as I believe we discussed last time, the fact that these cases are so episodic is really, really helpful.
yeah.
Just for a frame of reference, how far through this particular case are we? A third? Halfway?
I couldn't tell you exactly. I'd say probably about halfway. I would not be surprised if we finished it by the end of this week's episodes.
Okay, so we
Somewhere longer than
the right after finding out the stuff about John Nelligan and testing the harpoon stuff, Inspector Lestrade brought us aside and said, "Hey, we arrested somebody else for this. I don't remember exactly what they got him on, but he had shoes that fit the footprints out
gardener,
here, and he
right,
looked a
we
bit
think.
gardener-ish, so like the game is just straight up calling him the gardener. And that's notable because she says there's no gardener. And he had a stained letter that was smeared with ink, and also a bond. Oh no, we found a bond certificate in one of the logs that Peter had. So we're gonna, I think,
Okay.
said we could do an analysis on the letter. So let's go back to Sherlock Holmes's my first chemistry set.
Watson killed the man with a harpoon as prevenge for
Yep.
making us kill a pig with a harpoon, then took out some bonds to diversify them so that he could retire after selling the stories to the Strand magazine, while simultaneously framing a man for gardening, just to throw us off the scent.
Yeah, it's very Joker.
He's a mastermind.
Watson
Did
just.
we ever explain what Creepy Watson was? We talked a lot about him last week, and I think we mentioned him this week, but did we ever discuss it?
Is
No,
is
I
it
think we
that
just
Watson
assumed-
does not cast a shadow? Because the only shadow, like, I mean,
He
you
does-
kind of got an
he
arm
does
shadow
cast a
there,
shadow.
but there's another shadow of just a floating cup.
The
One
cup is
Peter.
casting 2 shadows, which is weird.
Yeah. We also don't apparently cast a shadow of any kind.
No, Creepy Watson. There was a version of.
You suspect. But this
There's an
one
earlier
refuses to
game
talk.
in this franchise
This case
Nemesis.
is
where
more
you were
interesting than I first
Nemesis,
imagined.
where you were invited to basically a mansion, and Watson would follow you around, but they didn't want to animate him walking. So just as you were walking around the mansion looking for clues in first person, you know, you'd turn around and Watson would be there. And if you were playing the game as intended, it was just sort of like, okay, Watson's here now, and you talk to him for advice or help or bounce ideas off of him. It wasn't really a big deal. Then someone decided to basically do a YouTube video of them walking around, constantly looking behind them and setting it to Jaws music, and it totally changes the context of what's happening, where Watson is this silent, unmoving, statuesque figure that gets ever closer in impossible ways every single time you turn around. And so it kind of becomes like that Doctor Who episode where you can't blink or whatever, where every time you turn around, he's closer, and it has this ominous Jaws music, and it actually is really kind of scary. But according to Rutskarn, they patched it, which makes me sad.
Yeah, now he walks around and falls.
What?
First condition.
I don't understand what this means.
Second condition. Orange reagent.
It's a puzzle,
Well, you need to
Josh.
find a way to go from blue to yellow, and then yellow will get you to clear.
Third condition.
Have you never read the original short stories published in Strand magazine? Every 15 pages, it was mandatory for Holmes to pause the investigation to solve a connect-the-dots puzzle.
That is capable of removing
I also liked it when they ported this game to Highlights magazine, and then updated it on the internet for Sporkle.
First condition. All 7
I
Very
apparently
new.
have
Supposed to use all 7 reagents.
my list of periodicals apparently is basically like a 7-year-old.
Okay.
After the blue reagent.
Holmes, we've very nearly cracked the case. I believe I will understand the depth of Moriarty's depravities once I have found some means to get the small ring on top of the medium ring on top of the large ring without ever having a larger ring on top of a smaller ring. I could probably help you with this puzzle, but I won't.
I'm just gonna, like, I assume it's not a one-time and fail sort of thing here.
Yeah, you do it once, and then Sherlock Holmes gets tarred and feathered and run out of town. What a fuck up. What the fuck were you even doing? Green versus blue? You idiot.
There are
I seem to
only
have accidentally
6
discovered the formula
reagents
for
listed
nitroglycerine. Yes, I know that nitroglycerine is already been.
No, something isn't right. I need to start the reaction from the beginning.
Oh boy.
Again.
I like how it just completely evaporated. Oh, okay. Hang on. So
First condition. All 7 reagents should be used.
Okay.
Second condition.
How do we go from
Orange
blue to
reagent
yellow?
Should be the third one in the sequence after the blue reagent.
Okay.
Third condition. Colorless reagent should be added after the orange reagent.
So maybe we start with green. Then we do blue.
I'm on tenterhook.
What if we start with colorless?
Colorless
There's
is
that
in
big
there.
old skip button, the top right.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying.
I do find it interesting that they're just like, fuck it, who knows what this guy's doing. Okay, then we'll do another blue.
Some of the mini games in Nemesis were absolutely dreadful.
Then we'll do green, I guess. Then we'll
There's
do
this
both
one
oranges
minigame.
and the last colorless.
You need to shoot like a grappling hook rope across an ancient ruin, and then you need to, I think, tightrope walk, and it was just absolutely dreadful.
No, something isn't right. I need
Everywhere
to
I
start
went
the
online,
Alright.
people were just saying like, "How do you do
Do
this?"
you really want to skip? Nah. I wanna mess around with this fucking awful shit. Fine. I don't understand what this puzzle is trying to communicate to me. Like, I'm very confused.
We could just cut this if we need to.
That is capable of... First condition. All 7 reagents should be used. Second condition. Orange reagent should be the 3rd one in the sequence after the blue reagent. Third condition. Colorless reagent should be added after the orange reagent. I don't even
really fully understand what the parameters of this are. What is the answer?
Blue.
If he says obla diablo da, so help me fucking God.
Blue. Orange. Clear. Orange. Clear.
What? Is it... Okay, I think I can understand the logic of this. If it's like orange should always immediately be followed by colorless. If that's what that means. But that's not... That does not follow from this. That's not necessarily the only reading of that.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't remember having any trouble with this puzzle.
Done.
And I'm far too groggy to understand it right now.
Let us see if the content of this letter sheds a little light upon the mystery.
Can somebody get a list of all adventure games that require you to swab something? With like a little 2D swabber? Because I feel like it's actually a lot of adventure games from the 2000s.
Interesting. How would Hurtley react to this?
Did as you asked and hit them well, but I beg you to reconsider some broken words. Remember our vows. I have done nothing dishonorable for which you something me.
It's going to imply that it's the ladies, but I don't think it's his ladies. I think it's someone else. Or maybe it's the lady. I don't know. Let's go bug the lady.
What a poser and no mistake. That's what the animals on Redwall say whenever they get a riddle, which amounts to something like, I have hid the clue in somewhere green and brown with leaves in it. A big one of whatever it is. Can you guess where the mystery will lead you?
To the land of mist?
Yeah, that's it. We're just gonna... At some point, Sherlock is gonna be like, fuck this, and he's gonna walk over and push a button on the wall, and out is gonna come sliding a fucking 486 PC, and he's gonna pop in a disc into his new CD drive and play Myst.
But that's not even how you get the Myst.
Then the game becomes Myst.
Okay, which would be better? A fan fiction where Sherlock Holmes opens up a link book and has to journey into like Riven or something and solve puzzle. Actually, no. You know what? That's better. Better than whatever else I would have had as my alternative. That's just
Sherlock Holmes
someone make this.
Just invades video games.
No, that one specifically.
Have I done? Okay, yeah. What was the old scar?
Handkerchief with crusty tit on it.
Yes.
Crested?
Yes, it says crested.
Okay, so...
We're just awkwardly ogling you here. Don't mind us.
Tell me, Mr. Hurtley, what were you doing at Woodman's Lee?
Woodman's Lee? I've never been there.
The second pair of boots that you had with you when you were arrested perfectly match the footprints found near the cabin where Peter Carey was murdered.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
That's your proof.
I've never been to Woodman's Lee. You couldn't possibly have footprints that tie me to Woodman's Lee.
Now that your presence at Woodman's Lee has been proven, would you care to explain it?
Oh, here the
don't
Daedra of
remember.
Attack Kvatch.
What would I be doing there anyway?
Gardener or well-kept garden? These are both options.
Is the question what he
Well,
was
that
doing
was red.
at the time he left
Select
his
the
blueprint, though?
Select
you
the
fucked up.
correct
Now that your
answer.
presence at Woodman's
That's
Lee
so
has been
passive-aggressive.
Sherlock
Hey,
takes
Josh.
his side. Goes, no, hang on.
Okay,
I
no,
don't
maybe we
remember.
didn't explain the rules.
would I
The
be doing
trick
there
is to pick the
anyway?
correct answer. And not say something wrong and stupid. Sherlock.
Because you are the gardener at Woodman's Lee.
I'm not. How did you...
I observed your hands. They told me that you work with the earth. Small fragments of plants snagged to your trousers indicate that
These
you
get a
were
little bit
mowing
more difficult
very
as the game
recently.
progresses. This is very much
But
the
the most
tutorial.
obvious clue presented itself in the bird embroidered on your handkerchief. A crested tit, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, you got me. Yes,
What does that have to do with
I am a
gardening?
gardener, and I went there.
What
to
does the
get
crested
my
tit have to do with anything?
The crested tit is also present in stuff at the house.
So tell me, Mr. Hurtley, what did you hide?
It's like
Hide?
he has a
What are you
monogrammed
talking
handkerchief. It's like
about?
he's like, oh no, I didn't work for Hilton Hotels, and then he pulls like a small Hilton Hotel hand towel.
I did as you asked and hid them well. Should I continue?
My letter? But the ink? That's impossible.
A touch of chemistry, nothing special.
I shat all over it.
You're a smart one. But it's nothing. If you want to know, I was referring to my tools. It was to do with my work, see?
I will check that, Mr. Hurtley.
So now we have to go find the stuff he
That's
buried?
all for now. Hurtley's stories are false leads, but now I know one thing for certain. I must examine the site where the garden tools are kept at Woodman's Lee.
Let's see if... Is there
What am I
anything to
doing
talk...
here?
No,
I've
nothing to
done
do with
nothing
John
wrong.
Elligan.
Mr. Holmes?
Nice room they've got here.
What sort of detention policies did Victorian England have?
I mean, they had a prison
mean-
system.
No,
Yeah,
but I
they-
mean, like,
they
how
had-
long could they hold someone without bringing them to trial?
I mean, I don't think that was much of a concern.
Inspector Lestrade, why do you have shapes of noses drawn on your chalkboard? What are going on with some of these guys' lips?
Okay, I think
investigation
the shapes of
going,
gnosis
Mr.
things is either
Do you have any idea?
chronological
where
reasons
he's
or more likely just, you know, identifying suspects.
I guess.
Or maybe he's just, like, working on his own manga in his spare time. It's a slice of life.
After retiring from a life of criminal investigation, Inspector Lestrade lived on to fulfill his dream of creating hidden object adventure games, starting with Seasons of Mystery Cherry Blossom Murders.
The plot of his game is that there's this really brilliant detective who's murdered brutally. Just fucking brutally. And only one handsome
Isn't that
inspector
actually
can
what
solve the murder.
happened in Cherry Blossom Murders, though?
I guess it
I
is.
I do love that you have Witcher senses.
Yes. Sherlock Holmes was a witcher, as we all know.
I mean, I'd call it detective vision, but I feel like that's a bit on the nose.
Locked.
You know,
Lady.
Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes stories, was actually a spiritualist and, like, 100% believed in, like,
Madam,
psychics and
we have
mediums and stuff.
information that the valuable stolen papers are hidden amongst the garden tools here at Woodman's Lee. We need to find them.
Oh my. Our tools are kept inside the shed that's right
So is
behind.
Woodman's Lee the name of the property or the region of London?
Thank you, madam.
I believe it is the property.
Is that just normal for, like, random properties? You just have, like, specific proper noun names?
Let's see what could be hidden here.
I mean, if it's an estate.
I guess.
Ill-fitting
Aha!
plan. Hey, it's the cure to blindness.
Let us see what is in this box.
Oh,
So-
boy.
Oh yeah, I actually kind
another
of like this game's.
kind of lock.
I kind of like this game's lockpicking minigame, I have to say. Oh boy, this is gonna be painful.
Oh, I see what's going on. Okay.
Okay, that wasn't
There we go.
bad.
That was neat. I'm not totally sure I fully understand that game, or if I just managed to accidentally
Yeah, no,
figure it out.
you just collect all the connect all the lines, and then some of them are a little trickier where you need to slide parts.
Family
So,
Hurtley
I
and
looked up the
Mrs.
word
Carey
Lee.
were in a relationship.
There is the side of
The
a ship
shaded side of something.
Interesting.
that's sheltered from the wind, or simply a protecting shelter. So, I guess this is one of those like English things. It started with a quaint little town name, but then sort of grew up because this is not just a small little shelter for the woodsman. It's like a estate.
Maybe they just think they're being cute. Oh, our quaint little cottage home. I mean, this is pretty quaint by the standards of a Victorian country home. You know, a lot of Victorian country homes could accommodate like many dozens of guests at a time.
Transplanted to the States, and it's, go up. I reside at the plumber shack.
So the thing I'm thinking about, having
And it's
read
just
Judith
glorious.
Carey's letter, and then
This
Liam
glorious
Hurtley's letter here
McMansion.
is...
It's got like a 30-car garage.
The thing I'm noticing here about Liam Hurtley's letter is remember our vows, which would imply some sort of clandestine
Would you care to
marriage
spend
if
the
indeed
summer
the thing was
at the
written
garbage
by...
man's trailer.
There are other vows than marriage vows.
Or maybe this was written by...
Lady Macbeth.
what's her name? Curly? Carey?
Ms.
All I know
Carey,
is
yes.
we have to wear that bonnet.
Madam, I am aware of your
We
affinity.
have to disguise ourselves
with
as
Liam
Ms. Carey
Hurtley.
to seduce the gardener.
What are you talking about?
Your romantic correspondent? No, actually, yeah, that would be it. Outline in the dust. That's how I know.
Mrs. Carey, we found your letters.
My letters? I asked Liam to return
Some
them
of
to me.
these
I
are
wanted to
quite
burn them.
erotic.
Why did Mr. Hurtley put them inside the garden shed?
I don't know. I wanted them back, but I couldn't see him, not after what happened.
Well, here they are.
Oh, this is terrible. Terrible.
What happened?
Liam.
Well, he murdered
how
my
could you?
husband with a
What
harpoon.
he has
Oh,
done.
shoot! I shouldn't.
You believe that he killed your husband?
No, I do not know. I do not know. Leave me alone, please.
Thank you, madam. I wonder
Well,
if Wiggins
it
has
is part of the
managed to
inspector's
find
code
any
that when
sailors.
someone who has critical case information says to leave them alone, you do tend to leave them alone. So I'll continue on my way. Watson. I think I need a suspect before the day's out. Round up one of the irregulars. We'll send them up the river.
Ooh, there's...
You know, I have to say, they are not using
Hello.
the street urchins nearly enough.
How would you use an army of street urchins to solve a country murder?
I don't know. I just know that if I had an army of urchins, they would be used.
Teach them song and dance routines.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is
Oh,
if
that
this was
changes
taking
that.
place...
Interesting.
If this was taking place in the States, it would also not be street urchins, it'd be newsies.
Okay, so here's another, like, educated guess Josh has to make.
I don't feel like I know enough about it to make a guess either way.
Well, you can reserve your judgment for now.
But it was interesting that, that removed one of the things that was here. I guess because I found out more information that said, like, okay, maybe that's not necessarily his motivation. I assume to say, yeah, okay. What does it look like when I yeah, I was running! Woo!
A gentleman does not sprint to the garden gate. I must say, my stamina bar is quite depleted after a long day of investigating cases. I do find the walk between the gate and the suspect most tedious and tiresome, and seek to make it as short as possible by making liberal application of the sprint prompt.